How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Is It a Buy, where we talk about stocks and try to determine if they are worth the buy or maybe a pass. My name is Corey. I'd just like to preface the video by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks, so please take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Let's get into the video. Guys, last time we talked about Robinhood and how Robinhood had the fine of $65 million back in December of 2020 after it cost customers millions of dollars, specifically $31.4 million because of how it misled them and it was not properly executing the payment for order flow, right? And this is again in the mentality of us versus them, how they are always going to look out for themselves and their stakeholders or their institutions, right? Of who they do business with rather than the retail investors. Okay. And so this was in December, and this is $65 million. More recently, on June 30th, there was a huge fine, $70 million record fine, right? Which is crazy because I guess this wasn't the record. I wonder what the previous record was, because this is $65 million and this is $70 million. These guys are getting a lot of fines. These are hefty fines that are not to be joked about, right? It's just unreal. And so they were fined by financial regulators. And we're going to see here, the fines are associated with a host of violations tied to options and margins trading, app outages, and failing to report customer complaints. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into it. So Robinhood has been fined $70 million by FINRA, the Financial Regulatory Authority. The largest in the organization's history, right? It's the largest fine. Robinhood will pay $57 million in a fine and $12.6 million plus interest in restitution distributed to affected customers. Okay, so the previous one was not going to any kind of customers. This one is going to customers. I haven't seen anything that really determines or said like who is an affected customer, who is actually going to get something. I'm not sure if you have to file something or apply or anything like that, but if I do find out, I'll either pin it in the comments or maybe I'll make a separate video about that. But typically, even if the affected customer is 12.6 million, it probably affected tens of things. I think about how many people own Doge. So realistically, I mean, people might end up getting $1, $5, maybe $10, which maybe would be worth it, but just don't get your hopes up is what I would probably say. Okay, so the fines were for a series of violations over the course of a few years, so keep that in mind. And so including communicating false and misleading information to customers about how options and margin trading works. It also found that the firm offered options trading to customers with limited oversight, allowing thousands of customers to do potentially risky options trading, even though they did not meet the requirements for doing so. So this is a little bit interesting, right? So there are two different kind of parts to this. So, I'm not sure how they did the options, misleading information to customers about how options and margins trading works. I'm not sure if they, what this is defined by. So for example, I'm not sure if it's defined by them not giving the proper training or education or proper testing to make sure that they do qualify for options or margin trading, because for me, options trading is my own personal risk, right? We all know whenever we trade options, it's you have to know what you're doing before you enable it. And if you do try to enable it, you have to make sure that you meet the requirements, right? You understand that it's risky, it's a short term, yada yada. They're typically and those things. So I'm not sure exactly what that entailed, just to be fully transparent there. The agency also found that Robinhood suffered a series of outages that cost its customer money between 2018 and late 2020. Finally, let's talk about that one really quick. So for this one right here, serious outages that cost its customers a lot of money, I'm sure, between 2018 and late 2020. Keep in mind, guys, this, I'm not sure if that was a bug that was actually fixed, if it's patched, what is going on there. But we have seen similar things with Doge. Now, this is not talking about January. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with January whenever they halted trading. This has nothing to do with that at all. This is all about those other things, right? About halting. So for this one right here, specifically outages. And we've seen this with other kind of institutions and stuff, more specifically whenever we did the DD on Citadel, of how they basically can make a lot of money by fixing bugs or breaking, or not fixing bugs, making it look like bugs are fixed, and then it goes back. They do whatever they want essentially to make a lot of money. They've literally added it to their cost of doing business, right? The fines are literally part of their cost of doing business. They do not care about the fines at all. They're like $10,000 whenever they make who knows how many millions of dollars. It's literally worth it for them to have these outages or whatever's going on. I'm not sure if that's the same for Robinhood. I'm not sure if they would have any kind of benefit or what those benefits would be. But we did see how they did halt trading previously, and it just so happened to coincidentally have benefited their best customer, which is Citadel, their largest customer. Okay, so huge conflict of interest there. Which is another pattern that we saw from the previous video. And so outages. Now, this goes back, I'm going to tie this back into what is going on these days, right? If you're in the stock for a potential squeeze, right? The mother of all short squeezes. If you're in for this, these series of outages, people will say, they probably won't halt trading. I probably won't miss the squeeze. Personally, I was not willing to risk that, right? I'm not willing to say, Robinhood will probably be fine. Here's the deal. Hopefully, after all the heat they've had, they won't halt trading or anything like that. But was I willing to risk my money, my tendies on maybe they won't have an outage? What if they do have an outage? What if the outage lasts who knows how long and things are going crazy over there? You miss the entire squeeze and now you're like, I guess I should have gotten out of Robinhood, right? So keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and continue over here. Robinhood failed to report tens of thousands of customer complaints to FINRA, a violation of regulations, right? And so I guess they have to report their complaints to FINRA, as this is saying. I'm not sure exactly what the benefit or anything like that is, but them not reporting all of these complaints is a big issue, right? Obviously, it's going to cost them a whole lot of money, and these guys, again, they're going to do whatever they can to make the most amount of money they possibly can, right? And I don't know if these reports, right, if these customer complaints, I'm not sure if they accumulate. For example, if there are, let's say there's tens of thousands, let's say there's 1,000 complaints and they report it, if they have to pay, let's say $1,000 for easy math, and it builds up, or I don't know if even now they have 10,000, if it'll still be one lump sum and still be $1,000, and that's why they didn't report it, or why they haven't reported it. Maybe they're scared that someone is going to look into their operations and say, this is not right. You guys are doing terrible things. This is illegal. We're gonna have to shut you down. Who knows what they were trying to hide and not submitting these complaints. I can only speculate, but we'll go ahead and proceed. The fines were not, again, here we go. The fines were not associated with GameStop's historic run in January 2021, right? During which Robinhood halted trading. Okay, this is a whole nother in the series of talking about Robinhood. This is a whole nother topic that we're going to dive into as we proceed. Okay, and so this action sends a clear message. This is what right here we can see here the executive vice president and head of FINRA enforcement says this. This action sends a clear message. All FINRA member firms, regardless of their size or business model, must comply with the rules that govern the brokerage industry, rules that are designed to protect investors and the integrity of our markets. Compliance with these rules is not optional and cannot be sacrificed for the sake of innovation or willingness to break things and fix them later. Which is almost, I don't know if it's ironic or what the actual term that I'm looking for is, but it's very interesting how, all of this is going on, but it's pretty obvious that naked shorting is going on. And maybe these guys aren't the people who regulate naked shorting or anything like that. So maybe I'm wrong here, but it's very interesting everything going on with Citadel and specifically GameStop, how we can see for sure, or what looks like for sure, right, that the stock has been naked shorted. There's more shares out there than the actual float should be. It's very interesting their stance on it, but maybe this is not the entity that kind of regulates that part of things. But we'll go and continue. So it talks about what's it talks about what Robinhood is. I almost said Starbucks there. What they do, and it talks about Wall Street Bets. Let's see. It does go on to talk about the young man who unfortunately he killed himself. If you guys haven't heard this story, essentially what happened is Robinhood told him essentially, or on the app at least, said he owed more than he had a negative $730,000 balance, right? Over $700,000 on the app, and he was like, he freaked out. He tried to contact, sent like 3 emails. I think he tried to reach out to the phone number, but the phone number didn't work, or maybe there was no phone number listed. Can't recall. But all within, 1 day. And within that 1 day, unfortunately, he did end up committing suicide. It turns out it was a glitch. He in fact did not owe $730,000. He was not negative at all, I believe, and unfortunately, he was already gone by the time it was all figured out. Just super sad, super unfortunate for everything that happened. It all happened just so fast, all within the span of a day. Whether you blame Robinhood or don't blame Robinhood, whether you think the young man, just was a little fast in his actions, or whatever you think. I mean, it's just either way, that's a pretty big glitch to happen. That's a pretty large number for it to just be a glitch, regardless. So, and Finner said it. Oh, let's see what Finner said. In a note found after his death, he expressed confusion as to how he could have used margin to purchase securities because he believed he had not turned on margin in his account, right? So just glitches with the Robinhood app that really should have been fixed a long time ago, right? These things, that's a pretty big glitch to happen, especially something with margin that shouldn't even been turned on in his account, which is a little strange. But even then, even after all of this, in the congressional hearings, Vlad Tenev, the CEO of Robinhood, said they fixed it. They said, hey, we fixed the issue. We now have much more customer service reps. You can call in, you can email us, and we'll respond much quicker. And then one of the representatives who was doing the questioning, one of the representatives went ahead and he said, oh, this number, he called, this is on the congressional hearings. He called, he put it to the mic, and he said, and it just went to like voicemail or whatever. It said, please send us an email. Like, no one is here to answer. He goes, so this is your automated line where a person will, not your automated, this is your line where a person will answer. And it was no person. It was just automated. And Vlad looked like a fool, even more than he had already looked like a fool with everything that had been going on, because he kept going back and forth with what actually happened in January. But we'll talk about that another time. You probably already know the story. So in addition to lying to the customers, Finner found that the firm relied on algorithms known at options as option account approval bots to approve customers for options trading, with only limited oversight by the principals, and failed to reasonably supervise the technology that it relied on to provide core broker dealer services, such as accepting and executing customer orders. All right. All of these issues added up to millions in losses for its customers. The SEC had previously fined the app for $65 million, as we talked about previously, in December of 2020, and is still facing various customer-led lawsuits. And from my understanding, I think there's around 50 lawsuits that they're currently, like class action lawsuits that they're currently facing. I'll probably get into that in the next video, but it's unreal. Again, this just tying back into everything going on with Robinhood and their shadiness and all of that. Again, if you are in Robinhood, just making sure you're managing your own risk, making your own decisions. Because when push comes to shove, I think Robinhood has shown over and over and over again that it would rather look out for itself and its people who they sell your information to, aka Citadel and other institutions like it. They would much rather focus on those people rather than their retail investors. Okay, they would rather take care of everyone else. Retail investors come last, and they've consistently shown that pattern. Whenever it comes to anything having to do with how they run their business. All right. That is what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you did like the content, please consider subscribing. I'm doing my best to cover things with Robinhood, some crypto, the mother of all short squeezes, AMC, GameStop, all the good stuff right there. If you do want people to know about this, if you still know of people who are in Robinhood who are scared to switch out, I don't think it's too late to switch out. Be sure to like the video so the YouTube algorithm can kind of show it to those people and let them know, hey, Robinhood is not your friend. I personally love I loved the trading platform until they did what they did. I still wish that someone would buy it like Fidelity, just buy that on their platform, get rid of all the shady practices and just use it as their platform, because I think it's great. Maybe add a few more features for the charts and stuff. But yeah, that's that. Thank you guys again so much for taking the time. Have a great day. Peace.